I'm like, no. Real you.
Real me.
Yep, go.
Hi, I'm Ray Fawkes. I'm author and artist of many comics at many companies, and you're watching Splash Pages.
Yeah.
Is the one obvious thing.
Hey, stop it!
What's wrong with him?
His girl just broke it off.
It's her father. He doesn't want her dating a zombie.
Why? What are they, demons?
She is predeceased.
An outsider?
Mm-hmm.
Man, you're asking for trouble.
She broke my heart.
You're a zombie. Technically, you don't even have a heart.
After all of the great cinema that we brought to the world, and we still get no respect.
I don't know why he doesn't like me. I'm responsible. A full-time job.
You work at a haunted house in October.
I'm trying to be healthy. She's a vegan, so...
Wait, you're giving up meat?
Oh, come on.
What are you gonna do? Attack a farmer's market to try to impress her?
Now, if he was a vampire, you'd have a much better chance with her death.
Yeah, those pretty bastards.
I didn't think this would be that hard.
Hard? Man, I'm a zombie and I'm black.
Here we go.
I blame the educational system.
I blame the media.
I blame George Romero.
Oh. How could you be so disrespectful?
Coffee?
Zombies don't know much, but they do know good coffee. Deadly Grounds. It's coffee to die for, and zombie approved.
Who's George Romero?
Just have some coffee.
Hey. Oh, magic button. I hit the wrong button. Anyway, happy Tuesday. Welcome to Splash Pages. My name is Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. We have an amazing show scheduled for you as always. And we're going to kick it off fast here. Carrie, how's it going?
It is going great, Leo. I'm glad to be back on a Tuesday. I've had a number of shows recently, and I have no idea what time or day it is anymore. So Ratatosker and I are going to hang out. I have my new Ratatosker glassware he made me order when he saw it was up. And we're super excited for our guest tonight. And if you can solve that, you can break the world.
Ooh.
Just letting you know. Yeah. Hi, Dylan. Hi.
Oh, don't worry. I'm not frozen. I was just testing how still I could be. Oh, 30 seconds. What a record. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. It's Tuesday, so we're here. And we've got a wonderful guest. We had him on a while ago. And we figured, hey, it's been a minute. Let's have him darken our door frames and bring on some of that great writing. If you've seen his work in DC, you definitely know his stuff He did quite a bit of some great stuff with John Constantine during the New 52 and a little bit beyond. He also did a creator-owned book named Jackpot. He did Gotham by Midnight, which was a book we reviewed previously. He's also a fantastic writer. Carrie will attest to that, and she's read quite a few of his novels as well. All around great, all around extremely nice, humble. Definitely feels like the kind of person who would refuse a drink if John bought it because it's John. But don't take my word for it. Everybody, the one, the only, Ray Fawkes.
Hello, everybody. I would definitely refuse a drink if John bought it, because who the hell knows what would be in it?
100%.
Yeah, that was my first thing when I was reading the Constantine. I was like, yep, still an asshole. Gonna die if you try to be nice to him. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, he's a little bit cursed, maybe.
Well, I think John is. I think it's just kind of become accepted that John, in the capacity of anything, is essentially one of the necessary evils of magic. And I feel like you and any of your collaborators, like I know for the first couple issues of the New 52, it was you and Jeff Lemire, and then it was solely you for the rest of the run. You guys really nailed that personification. That again, John kind of is essentially that person where I think you talked about it, how like, you know, again, magic, it's always tricking something into thinking it isn't. So you're constantly borrowing and taking, trying to escape the debt. John is essentially one of the world's worst liars because he's always on top, but every time the bill comes, he does the never again, and then something comes up, and we're like, nope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about John is I think perhaps of all the characters in the DC universe, is one of the ones who has the clearest understanding of the price of things like magic. But he's willing, he's not eager, but he's willing to shoulder it to get the job done sometimes. And as a person who is clearly understanding the price, he's not fooling himself about what needs to be done.
Absolutely not. But I think at the same time, what I think is great is you and other writers channel a little bit of that former punk into him. Like he knows the price, but he will 100% give you the finger as he's casting the spell.
Yeah, he doesn't
like
have to
just
like it.
Any authority. It's just like I was like, no, what can you do for me later? Like, and again, you definitely kept it is dangerous to be around this person. So if you are his friend, run.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, even when we were in the New 52, we were sort of working within the constraints of bringing John back into the DC sort of superhero universe.
Right.
But we did not want to lose that quality of John, that to know him is dangerous, to be around him is to be a potential sacrifice. And in fact, the more important to him you are, the more valuable you can prove to be as a sacrifice.
I mean, literally in I think the first arc, you had his Chris, who, you know, and I'm sorry, I don't know why, but when he was fighting Chris, of course, in the spirit realm, I don't know why, but him having like spider legs just creeped me out a little. I was just like, oh God, why? Like it's just like the raised arms, and I'm just like, oh.
We have to read books ahead of time for Drew because he has this spider thing.
Oh,
so
no, it's just it's a weird like random arachnophobia. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, that's nice, okay, that's cute, and then sometimes like, ooh, it's crawling. Oh boy, oh boy. No, but it was a really nice introduction because again, I feel like John, people kind of make the same mistake that sometimes they do with Deadpool, where like Deadpool, it's everybody thinks it's like, okay, yes, you can break the fourth wall and you can make your pop culture references, but you have to have a vision for the character.
Yeah.
you know. And I feel like you had that vision. It's not like everything is, you know, cunts and drinks and middle fingers and cigarettes and everything. That's all in there. That's part of it. But like you said, he's always trying to be one step ahead because John does not have the conventional sense of an enemy. He has enemies, and it's not just on one plane of existence. Like, he has pissed off a lot of people.
It's funny, actually, that you zeroed in on his punk sensibility too, and that you guys wanted to talk about both Constantine and Jackpot tonight, because the two books are kind of thematically similar.
Yeah.
In that they're about stealing power from authority. And John definitely, you know, John has no tolerance for people who, you know, it's funny because he's a con man, he's a trickster, but John has no tolerance for people who put on false airs,
right,
and who act like they're more important than they are. And, you know, really the enemies that he has are people and creatures who want to lord their power over the sort of ordinary person. He's
right.
Like, from the beginning, like from Alan Moore's creation of him, Alan Moore used to talk about John Constantine as a blue collar wizard, right? And so the idea is that he, you know, and in the run on the New 52, we had a lot of the other characters refer to him as a gutter mage, right? Like, just he's beneath them, he's dirty, he's poor, he's poorly educated. And so for him, his, you know, a lot of his motivation has to do with taking the glory and the power away from people who would lord it over people like him.
Yeah, leveling the playing field where no one is. We're all the same. We all use the same magic. We all pay the same price.
Yes.
You know, which I think is why, again, you have that interesting battle with you and him and Mr. E. You know, who is this character who, again, we have this secret cult. We have all these people. We have all this power and all this stuff. And John is like, yeah, I'm going to die probably. But, you know, at the same time, like, I'm going to go down giving you the finger. Well, like, you won't get the satisfaction of beating me.
And never kneel to these guys.
Ever. Yeah. And go, Karen.
I was going to say, you brought it up and you mentioned it. I have this amazing gap of knowledge in my comic books, like in time that I took off between being a collector and coming back again and trying to catch up. You are my first New 52 that I have read. So I'd like to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Because it's great. I'm excited now to get into more of it. Because I was like, really, really cool. What is this about? Am I going to like this or not? You know, and I'm like, okay, so Constantine is a great character and it looks really good. So I'm very excited about it.
Excellent.
And as you say,
you know, Jeff Lemire and I, we also did Justice League Dark for the 52, and that was sort of like a magical Justice League that involved John. And then, you know, after the New 52 and stuff, like Cy Spurrier has done amazing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I love him.
You know, so I'm glad.
And
Welcome.
And it's so funny because, like, we're just kind of slowly collecting creators who, in one form or another, through interviews that have worked on John. Like, we've talked to you, talked to Cy Spurrier, Carrie interviewed Brian Azzarello. We've interviewed the great Garth Ennis, who, I mean, him, even his collaborator John McCree, again, all fantastic. And again, thematically, you're like, again, different kind of Johns, different adventures, different demons sometimes. But you guys just all just manifest the characters so well.
Well, the basis of the character is so strong, right? And then each of us has a kind of different take on John because we each have sort of different things we're into or different things we're fascinated by. I like that Garth's John was sort of part of a community, and it was very much about his friends and allies, you know. Cy's is almost more like the Jamie Delano John, right?
Yeah.
It's like sort of in the real dirt and grime. the world, and all the nasty things the world do. I'm, as you can tell from some of my other books, I'm fascinated by grifters and con artists and low lifes, right? So to me, that was the really appealing side of John, was the fact that he's kind of a magical low life.
Yeah.
Now,
Leo.
I was just going to bring up. So you definitely brought in a lot of toys into your run. I mean, you even brought in Shazam at one point. Is there somebody you did not play with that you wanted to bring in?
Oh no, we really got almost everybody in there.
Almost though.
Almost. I mean, to tell the truth, one of the reasons I went over and did Gotham by Midnight afterwards is I'd really, really wanted to deal with the Spectre in Constantine, and we never really got it to work in any real way. So pretty much right when my run on Constantine ended, I pitched Gotham by Midnight.
It was so good.
Yeah, we got to do that.
Yeah, I was just rereading that. That was gorgeous. And both artists that you had working on it, like that. Oh,
yeah, it was great. Like, Ben Templesmith brought the extreme weirdness, and then Juan Ferreira, he also had kind of a grittiness that was really, really cool. He sort of, I don't know, he the two of them had these kind of like very different, very dark kind of horror movie aesthetics, but two very different ones. It was really cool.
It almost got to scribbles with Temple.
Yeah, with Templesmith. Yeah.
Sorry, can't talk.
Word.
Yes. Words hard.
Words hard. But I think the thing that's funny, because rereading by Midnight, it kind of reminded me of like the way Gotham Central shed a different light on Gotham, because again, we're very used to a Gotham that's very Batman centric. Gotham Central showed, and again, to the credit of the great Greg Rucka and other collaborators like Brubaker and such, and all the artists. We saw the police, we saw the other people who work with, and then the same thing Gotham by Midnight. You had all these other characters who, again, are tied into that realm that in some way, I think there are very few cities in DC that are really as fleshed out as Gotham is. Like, Gotham really is its own entity. And then, of course, if you look back, there's just such history, and a lot of it is very dark.
Yes.
So
well, it was pretty much perfect for a horror book. I mean, a lot of Batman books are kind of horror books as well, but anyone who reads Gotham by Midnight can see I was a fan of Gotham Central. But
absolutely.
This was my chance to sort of spin a little piece of it off and say, what do they do with all the extremely weird shit? And what do they do with the stuff where even Batman kind of looks at it and says, I don't know how to handle this.
Right.
I loved that he was just like, Batman was in it rarely.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and he was just annoyed.
Well, because honestly, Batman's the world's greatest detective, but when Batman's detective work leads him to some kind of enormous undead ghost creature, he's like, okay, well, I can't deal with this. And that's, he calls Jim Corrigan, right? So Batman would want nothing to do with a lot of the stuff that these people are dealing with.
Absolutely. And it's so funny, like Carrie brought up another parallel, which is, I thought was hilarious. It's like kind of reminding you, like, Image is Sam and Twitch, in the Spawn universe, but you only ever saw Spawn like once. And literally he was asking for help, and they're like, no, fuck off. We're doing our own thing. Like, go away. And you're thinking, like, this nigh omnipotent character who, killed gods and demons is shooed away by two detectives in New York. And it's just so funny when you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, Jim Corrigan also was a character who he was a cop, before he became the Spectre, and he was kind of trying to live the life he knows, but of course he can't because he has the Spectre
Right.
in him, and and to me also it sort of spoke to the fact that Batman finds a use for everything too. Batman makes sure that Jim Corrigan can be pointed at the things he needs to be, and then he backs off, right?
Agreed.
You brought such a great feeling with both of the lead detectives, Drake and Corrigan, that just they're claustrophobic almost, because anywhere they're around people, they each have something that can cause them to die. And obviously the Spectre more so than her, but they're just, but they have to be around people to do their jobs.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
trying
that's
to,
part of the horror of the book, right? Is that
yeah.
everywhere Jim Corrigan walks around, he knows he's got a nuke inside him, basically.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, and that's something I don't think everybody does with him. They're just like, oh, we can pull him in as a god creature, to just like throw this out. It's not, he'll just do this. It's like, no, like in this one, he's terrified of hurting people, but he can hurt people. And like you said, that adds to the horror rather than it just being, yes, there are ghosts, but the characters themselves and what they go through was just horrifying. So I loved that part of the book. It just added so much more depth to it.
Agreed.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. And then, like I said, with like the issues we basically read the first arc of John. I think again it was just so funny. Like what I find amusing is considering everything John, like kind of like how Batman has very little interest or just such disdain for magic. John has a similar disdain for capes.
Oh yeah.
Like he was like, oh, you guys look so dumb. Like consider again, you're thinking of someone who faces like the weirdest Lovecraftian, like other dimensional shit. Also, someone who's probably done a ton of hardcore psychedelics and whatnot. But yet, someone calling himself Shazam is like the dumbest thing in the world to him.
Well,
like,
I always try to think of it from John's perspective, right? Where John is always about playing his cards close to his chest, about maybe looking weaker than he is, about being ready to surprise people. And he thinks the dumbest thing in the world you could do is put on a giant colorful costume announcing what you are and explaining your powers to everybody, right? I can think of like he would be so irritated at the idea of someone like Shazam or Green Lantern wandering around with a bright big lightning bolt or big lantern on their chest. He's just like, why would you do that?
Right. Well, it's just so funny because again, like you said, John is always looking to protect. So what I enjoy is that any effort he did, his manipulation always ends the same. Like people like, I don't want to be manipulated. You're a fucking asshole. I hope I never see you again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it usually ends as John is either his nose is broken, he's bleeding out, or he's just like, all right, cheers. Just pounds one back and just add it to my fucking tab. So
yeah, because probably somewhere in there he also saved a bunch of people from something extremely horrific. And no one's ever going to know about it, or he had to hurt or even kill someone he cares about to do it. It's not like once he's done all of that, when someone tells him he's an asshole, it's not like that's going to be what upsets him.
No. He's like, I know. He knows. He's the first person to admit it's true. Like
he's like an assassin or a spy or something. He does all these things. He does his work. Hopefully, it leads to a good end, and ideally, nobody ever knows about it.
Absolutely. And then, Leo, did you have any thoughts before we move on to the next subject? I just didn't want to include you, buddy.
No, I appreciate it. We can move on.
Okay, cool.
I had one more last thing about John. When we're talking about how he behaves, and like at the very beginning, it's like you never make a deal with John Constantine. You just don't.
Ever.
He's kind of the like an opposite in Lovecraftian mythology, Nyarlathotep,
Mhm.
who like goes through and like, oh no, you never make a deal with him, man. But Nyarlathotep is malicious intentionally.
Mhm.
You know, John, it's just like it just happens. It's gonna happen. You do something, it's gonna go bad. But I've always thought like I would like to see the two of them interact at some point. I think that would be so awesome if somebody could do that
You
hand
would
in
all
hand.
turn the smoke.
Um, so if you ever feel like doing a Lovecraft meets Constantine, that would be my suggestion. Would be to like
Sure, a lot of people would be super interested in
Yeah.
I think it would be very fun. I think they would get along, but in a very
that.
weird way.
Either get along or completely hate each other even more than normal because they're so
100%.
close.
And
True. There
and
would be a
just-
respect, though, of
and then
some sort.
also, I just want to point out again, because this image is here, just the fact that even the Spectre is like, I'm coming for you. I'm like, oh man, dude.
Yeah.
Like deals on deals on deals.
Yeah.
Again, keeping to referencing, I think, what was one of the best John stories where he has 3 different demons trying to claim him, and they have to essentially heal John. And I was just like, man, you are just good, buddy. Like, it's really funny because every time I think about John's cast, I remember a scene. I don't remember which era of Hellblazer, but I think it was John was confronting some deep demon lord, and he just kills a random passerby in the pub. And the guy's like, "Did you know him?" He said, "I must have. He's dead." And I'm just like, "Oh God." Like, yeah.
That's so sad. That's
Yeah.
so real.
It's just like, good Lord. I was like, and he just says it so nonchalantly. I was like, yeah, he must have. He's dead. I was just like, good God, this man. But yeah, just I had to bring all that out. So, but moving on to the next thing, Jackpot, which was a creator-owned book that you had worked on.
Yes.
I was like, wow, this is an interesting mix. Like, it's a heist movie, but it's also like they got the multiverse and everyone's in a suit. And I was just like, and then there's math. I'm like, I don't know about the math. I'm like everything else. Like, the C student in me was like, calculus is bad. But I'm like, but calculus is good.
I had some questions.
Go, Karen.
Okay, so if you guys for the viewers out there, my little byline thing is the equation that is used in that is used in the book, and it allows her to kind of twist reality a bit. Did you just grab something at random, or is that something from an actual
So I mean,
proof or?
I have an educational background in calculus. I went to school for aeronautical engineering. So I mean, when I was writing Jackpot, it's the calculus that I display in Jackpot is not necessarily. It doesn't have a specific meaning. It's just meant to represent the magical calculus. But I probably pulled it out of one of my partial differential equations books. Those equations, those long calculus equations are fantastic because they look nonsensical to someone who hasn't learned calculus. And so to me, like, the calculus in Jackpot is kind of like another kind of magic. But I've always had an affinity for math and calculus, and I love that it is specifically calculus and in physics it is descriptive of the universe. It is descriptive of the shape of everything and the way things work. So I had wanted for a long time to do a book that showed that the power of the gods was essentially mathematics.
Nice. Dylan believes that you would make Pythagoras proud. You're reminding me. There's in one of the role playing systems that some friends of mine and I used to play. There's a class that's called an Egyptian mathematician, and you basically are able, if you're playing that class, to figure out exactly where to like if you can't open a door, you can figure out exactly where to tap it, that you'll break the molecules down and it will disintegrate. So you can change the world based on totally high math. And I also, just because it popped my head, because Drew introduced me to the Trinity series with John Kent and Damian Wayne babysitting Wonder Woman's in our Trinity, and they have Darkseid's anti-life equation. They're like telling her a bedtime story, and she comes out and is like, "I can't sleep. Darkseid's in my closet, and he's got the math." And so it was like the evil math, and I'm like, "You brought the evil math. This is the magic math to go with evil."
I guess instead of the anti-life equation, the Jackpot involves the everything equation.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow. Like it and again, it was just so beautifully expanded. Because again, like I'm like, oh, this is like a heist. I got some colorful characters here. Everyone's gambling on something in this group. And then you just casually flip the script. So it goes from heist to audition to immortal gods, and then there's so much math, and I was like, I am a C student, so I understand that someone is getting shot. So that takes a few bullets. So I was like, 4.
But I mean, ideally, like the idea of the calculus in Jackpot was just it was the idea of the sort of like the fortune or the luck of having a thief who's smart enough to understand what she's looking at,
right?
Who's actually pretty much a unique genius, having her stumble across the secret language of the gods. And then, like it was sort of the entire concept of the book was, what if entirely the wrong person stole God's power and decided to take over, So it's a heist book, and it's a heist book where the crooks involved quickly realize that one of their number is potentially poised to become God.
Right.
And they need to figure out what they want to do about that.
Right. And I also just want to say, like, I felt it was very adaptable. Like I could see like obviously it would be changed because they're like, oh, 6 issues, like we could stretch 3 seasons. Like, please don't stop. But like I was like, wow, this is like very adaptable. Like it wasn't exactly like, oh yeah, it'll be a movie. I'm like, no, a show. We need to flesh out everyone. Need to get the protagonists. But I was just like, wow, this is like, because I feel like heist movies are dime a dozen now. Like the idea, but I was like, wow, this is like really cool. Because again, you think like prize and there's always something and twist, but I was like, no, this is like the prize is to be omnipotent. But then you then ask, I was like, okay, well, do you really think you're the first person to figure it out? Much less, why didn't they work together? And how would they feel about adding someone new? I was like, no, these are all pretty accurate. Everybody sucks.
Yeah. Well, and I guess most people who might figure out how to use this power might not necessarily be selfless people.
No.
Right. And, especially, our thieves in this book, they're thieves. They haven't had the best lives. They, give them the power to not only take over everything, but redefine everything. They're not going to make a paradise for everybody.
Yeah. Real quick from Dylan, would like to know what your inspirations were for the series.
Well, I mean, one of my inspirations was a lot of great heist movies, right? Going back to things like The Italian Job and
Thank you. Yes.
11.
So good.
Yeah. And then, the other part of it was just some of the thoughts that were left over from working on other horror books. And some of the notions that I had about mathematics and gods and the like, and I just I began with the idea of assembling the kind of characters who would be in one of those classical heist stories, and then have them come across something that is like godly in power, and say, so how would they fight over that? What would they do with it?
It reminds me a little bit, as far as kind of the heist thing goes, of the Now You See Me, Now You Don't movies.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit, yeah.
Because there's some magic, like some real magic involved in that, on top of the like sleight of hand and stuff that they do.
Mm-hmm. So something like The Prestige.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've done the book. I haven't done the movie yet, but that, like with, just like, and it does, it gets a little confounding because you have to figure out, like, okay, when you have to start going back as you're reading and like readjust your timeline. This isn't something you can read once through and just be like, oh yeah, I caught everything. It's like okay, yeah, you got to jump back, and this is when okay. And I love the way you portrayed the other, I guess they're gods, and how they each brought about their own age of something or other. And well, I'm not going to give spoilers away on this. I mean, it's older, but people should read it. But the way that they're handled and dealt with, and that they get along, and how things break down in communications and stuff, it's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. But Leo, what did you think?
Sorry, I was on mute there. No, it was pretty good. And I mean, you mentioned The Prestige. I was just thinking that myself. It's but definitely not my ordinary read, but I enjoyed it.
Did you have any questions?
Put me on a spot there, Drew.
Yeah, well, you got to be ready. Can't just sit behind the keyboard all the damn time, buddy. Sometimes, little
on,
song,
monkey.
little dance.
Dance, monkey, dance.
So obviously this only ran for 6 issues. Where would you like to take this if you were to bring it back?
If I was to bring it back, I would definitely do something where the remaining members of the crew try to steal the power from their own former teammate.
Oh, wow.
This would be a thief against thief kind of story.
Nice. That would be interesting.
It's almost kind of set up for that in the end, right? Though the ending is a pretty satisfying end. It could just be like, hey, this character has ended up where they are, and the rest of them are where they are.
Right.
But I don't want to give away where anybody is, but definitely we would have a split in the group and a battle of wits for a subsequent story.
Well, would they? Because she was a child prodigy and hated being used for her brain. That was a big emphasis on that. And it's like, you're using me again. You're fucking, yeah, I can be a god, but only if I am used to become so, like being forced into this. So I can see where she gets better with that. Yeah. But could anybody that wasn't as intelligent as she is even come to a way of grasping this? I mean, I have ideas on how they could get a hold of it, but I'm not sure. So
that's the question, right? Like, can you use some kinds of knowledge without understanding them, right? And I mean, are maybe some of the members of her crew a little trickier than they seem, right? This is something that we could get into.
I mean, they are all very highly trained people. So, yeah. And another thing, as you've mentioned before with Constantine, hide your abilities. That's always the best way to go about it. So,
any con artist, any thief who's really smart and really knows what they're doing would never tell everybody everything they're capable of.
Yeah. So that one, obviously I loved it. Oh, wait, go this way.
Very Muppets of you, Carrie. No,
but I mean, how many math comic books are there?
It's very
honestly.
And then the fact that he had the interest, it's kind of like how I remember, like, anytime you'd see like equations in Big Bang Theory, those would actual people be like, no, that's actual real math. Those are real. That's not just.
We hired a scientist to come on and draw something on the board.
Exactly. So the fact that, like, Ray, you actually had a background, there was that thought, there was that energy, it just even adds more to it. Because again, good for you. I have no idea what this is all about. So respectfully, again, I'm like, keep on mathing, everybody.
Well, like, one of the greatest moments in my life, and definitely the greatest moment in my entire educational career, when I was in fourth year of university, I took a course called The Dynamics of the Atmospheric Boundary Layer, which was really just physics of the air. And the first day I went into the lecture, and there was like maybe 6 or 7 of us there. It was not a popular class, as you might be able to tell just from the name. And it was literally one of those situations where the professor came in, kind of looked at us, went over and started filling a blackboard with equations. And he did it for about, I'm going to say 20, 25 minutes straight. He was just writing this big, long equation that filled the whole blackboard. And we were all just sitting there like, what is he doing? And he finished it and he sort of tapped it and he said, so that's a hurricane. And then piece by piece, he explained to us how what he had written on the board modeled the speed and position of any given particle in the hurricane at any time.
Oh, wow.
And it was mind-blowing. And it was mind-blowing that he showed us how to change the equation to change the shape of the hurricane or eliminate it or whatever. And it was like an eye-opening experience for me. It was a thing where all the way up to fourth year, I had been studying physics and I understood how representational it was, but I had never had someone basically straight up say, this is a language that you already know, having come this far with math, and now I'm going to show you what it can really describe. And I never forgot it.
That is the most dramatic and awesome mathematics professor. I
love that
taking the time to draw it like in front, like he could have had it all ready to go.
Yeah.
When you walked in, but he took the time to draw it and then be like, tough fucking dog.
Yeah, he was a showman and I loved him. He was fantastic.
Dylan's calling him a witch. And Stefan would like to say that math has proven we live inside a simulation. So,
well, I don't think Jackpot disputes that, actually.
No, it doesn't. Oh yeah. Oh no, Dylan's a witch. Sorry, I forgot.
Okay.
I owe you a house now, Dylan. I'll get you one on legs. Trust me, there is one. I got it. Inside thing. Never mind.
Okay, good.
Yes. It's all good. Happy.
Very nice.
I do have to say that's a lot better than the teacher I had. I took electronics, and we needed to learn trigonometry for that, and pretty much just left us the book, and then he went on vacation. But he saved up like his entire vacation time through most of his career, and he took most of the last 2.5 years off.
So he just left you to it.
Yeah, just left us to it. You leave a bunch of young people with a lot of free time and a little more IQ than we should have, and you start a lot of trouble.
Love it.
Well, that's fun. Did you learn? I mean, did you study? Did you do things? Or did you just knock off the class? I mean,
it was I did a lot of studying on my own, but then we had people I was programming, and then one of the other kids just hit the main breaker, and I lost everything I was working on.
Oh,
yeah. So that
okay.
Yeah,
I lied. Dylan says that Ray and his professor, it wasn't. It was trying to point to the viewer, but Dylan's also a witch. You are. I know it. We both are. It's a little bit more mathematical. So I don't know. She was just like, "Why the fuck are you talking about this?"
Yeah, I literally, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Yes, I know I did.
Yeah.
We need to discuss though also what our lovely background here is from Nemavor, which is fun as shit, guys, if you have not read this. And Leo, I sent you the name if you can grab it in the messenger. But
Okay, why is it, I swear to God, why are all the dark, evil, creepy things, they crawl, man? It's just like the subtle sinisterisms of the terrifying and the just, it's always multiple arms and teeth and 40 eyes. God, dips. Again, beautiful book, right? Loved it.
Because Lovecraft existed and he made everybody go, shit, tentacles are awesome.
Yeah.
I can throw it at that and biblically accurate angels. You know, people are like, holy shit, I can do that. What if I combine the two? Boom.
Well, I give all credit to the amazing monster design in Nemavor to Mike Huddleston, who was.
Oh yeah, he absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you guys real quick just because I want to. This is the background. This is from that. This is from that book.
Mm-hmm.
Spider eyes. But
the aren't spider eyes.
But I mean, and then on top of it, Ray, like it was a true horror story. You know what I mean? Because I was talking about this with Carrie. Like I read the thing, and I was like, it's a real horror story. Like there is no happy ending. Like you know what I mean? Like, and again, you see that in horror. Just because the evil is defeated, there's never. It's not really a defeat. It's like yes, it's defeated, but it's not eradicated. There's always a chance the evil can come back. We've seen this in countless sequels. Thank you, Evil Dead.
You know, essentially, essentially, the monster in this book is one that erases your knowledge of its existence. It erases the memory that it exists at all. So it would be very, very hard to verify that you defeated it, or understand it.
Yes.
The only people who seem to be able to remember it in this story are brain damaged. So
I could see it.
Yeah. So I always thought that was the most horrifying thing about the idea of this story, is that these things could exist. There could be many of them. They could be all over the place, but we would have no idea, because while they are draining and killing people of their energy, they are also wiping out the memory of that experience.
Right. It's terrifying. Like, and it's funny because it kind of reminded me of like the weird twist that I remember they did in the adaptation of World War Z, where you had like essentially the creatures are all, I refuse the word zombies because I'm like, no, the entities are so focused on spreading their infection that anyone who's sick or damaged in some way, they go right past them. Like, no, this is not a healthy organism. This is damaged. So, you know, and then of course that becomes a plot point. And if I spoil that for everybody, it's been out long enough. Respectfully, like, shut up.
Well, the main characters in Nemavor are either ill or damaged in some way that their memory doesn't work properly. And so the creature just can't wipe itself from their minds the way it can from other people, so they are not its preferred food.
And it's so funny, like seeing it, because it gave me like I said, Invasions of the Body Snatcher vibe. It's and it's just, again, who would believe you? You're trying to explain something that you can't, you know, and you literally see the effect, and it's genius, because again, you're trying to explain to people like, oh, because again, you're damaged. So like, oh, you're recovering, all these things. It's the perfect cover. You know, like, how do you fight something you can't even remember what it is?
Yeah, it's a predator that wipes the tracks of its own existence. So
absolutely,
you can't defend against it.
Right.
I love the use of in the word balloons, and you would eliminate things, or your letterer would eliminate things or kind of blur out some words, and then eventually cut out a bunch of letters. And so you have to go back, and it's like, oh, the dialogue was set so that it could eventually take out these chunks of letters and make an entirely different message out of them. And I'm being made fun of because like I could see it. No, I have a TBI that's why I have epilepsy, and do have a couple memory issues. So I think I would be not tasty food in this case. So I would be forced to like realize what was going on. But what are you damning me for not being tasty?
I didn't say that. I did not.
But
There's so many things. No.
But I liked how it worked on multiple sides, because when it started getting to everybody, like, I want to give you guys examples without like spoiling something, but like somebody tries to reach out to another person and that other person somehow doesn't exist anymore.
Mhm.
But then you go to the person who doesn't exist is actually there, but their recollection of the person who tried to contact them initially is starting to fade away. So it's not just happening like in one form or another, it's like infecting all of these people. And it's, oh my God, you guys, it's fabulous. If you've not read this, you really need to go out and check it out, because it'll haunt you as far as like, what am I forgetting? You know, what is real here and there? Because sometimes it's not gonna. The grandma points out these things where they take away the little things. You know, they won't let you think of that. They won't let you remember, and it's beautiful. It's just this gorgeous loss. So, sorry, Hi, welcome to Carrie's praise moment. I just
Carrie,
Yeah,
you're
well,
good.
I mean, this was something right from the start I thought was truly horrifying, right? The idea that there could be something feeding on people and taking things away from them that they aren't even aware of. And, I mean, there's themes in there of disintegration, and there's themes in there of like losing your personality and stuff too, which to me is all extremely horrifying.
Oh yeah. I've always been scared of either going crazy and not knowing it, locked in syndrome, or just the losing of things. My grandfather, I took care of him and my grandmother for the last about 12 years of their lives. Grandma passed away a couple of years before Papa, but he had dementia, but it wasn't horrible. He couldn't necessarily remember like if he'd eaten that day or not, or a couple of recent things, but he remembered all the things from his past. So that was okay. So it was like, if I get dementia, I'd like it to be that way. You know, remember all the things from my past. Maybe I don't get all that, but I've seen so many people who struggle with dementia where it is really bad. And having the kids who are like, my dad doesn't recognize me anymore. Or, you know, that's horrible to think of for me. I'm lucky I guess I'm lucky I was in a state of someone who could walk out and be like, where am I? Where do I live? Oh, there's the dog. That's the coffee. Yep. I can't remember what town I'm in, but I know I'm home, you know.
Well, it's a very upsetting possibility that a lot of people face, right? And it's a very upsetting concept. The idea that our memories, like a lot of the things we base our personality on, could vanish or be damaged in some way. And you present an idea like that to a horror writer, and they make a monster about it.
And such a delightful monster it is.
The pages you're showing here, by the way, the page on the right with the flashes of the monster is one of my favorite pieces of artwork any artist has ever done on one of my books. And Mike Huddleston, I got that page from Mike. I've got it on the wall in the studio.
Oh,
wow. Nice. That's nice. Yeah.
So
that is gorgeous.
Go ahead.
For you, Ray, what are the key elements that are necessary for you to create a good either horror or mystery story?
Well, I mean, the main element is every horror story is really a way for us to talk about something in the world, something that we think is important or upsetting or very serious, and maybe so serious that it can be hard to talk about directly. I think this is true of just about every horror story. And so for me, a lot of the time, creating a good horror story means hooking into something that feels like that feels important and probably upsetting.
Mhm.
And then, like I say, I kind of joke about it, but you make a monster about it, right? Like you create something that the characters in the story can face head on, so that this doesn't, it's more visual, it's more exciting than a story about a couple of characters facing the possibility of
Right.
their degrading memories taking their personality away. You give them a monster that is degrading memories, and then I can allow myself to explore the subject of that fear, and to explore the way people react to that fear, or the way people treat people who are reacting to that fear. And it becomes a story that I can tell, and it becomes hopefully something that people can relate to, right? And so this is when I talk about horror, for me, like Jim Corrigan in Gotham by Midnight is a character who carries within himself essentially extreme anger, and he knows that it could be dangerous or even deadly all the time. And this is a horror story about losing control of yourself, right? And John Constantine, most of the stories that I wrote with him are about the horror of having to make a sacrifice for the greater good, of being the person who understands the sacrifice and has to make the decision, right? So these are all concepts that are frightening or upsetting or difficult, that I can then wrap a story around as a way to address these ideas. And that's what I love in really good horror stories too.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Everybody's just like, oh.
So what scares you, Ray?
Oh,
He writes good horror, so it's got to be good.
Yeah, I mean, the things that really freak me, I mean, beyond, I think, what, scares or upsets everybody, like illness and death and whatever, the things that really freak me out are the things that don't make any sense at all. I mean, this is why we struggle when something crazy happens. We try to make a story out of it to our detriment. Sometimes we try to make it make sense. But like my favorite recent horror piece, there's two things that really scare me, actually, because now I'm thinking of a horror movie that I love. But my favorite recent horror books and movie was the Annihilation books, Area X books. Precisely because the whole thing is a story about people trying to make sense out of something that aggressively doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And it's dangerous, and it's damaging, and it's frightening, and like all kinds of crazy unexplained things happen. And I find those books really compelling and really horrifying. The other recent thing that I saw that sticks with me, I recommend it to everybody. There's a movie, I believe it's Argentinian, though I could be wrong, but there's a movie that I saw recently called When Evil Lurks. That's a horror movie that's basically about knowing what you have to do to save people in a bad situation, and finding yourself completely unable to do it, finding yourself unable to resist doing the exact wrong thing. And it's deeply unsettling and deeply horrifying, because the characters in the story from the start know, like, just don't do this one thing and everyone's going to be okay, and they can't stop themselves from doing the thing, and then it's about them watching what happens.
Notes have been taken. I shall be watching and reading.
I warn you, it's an extremely gory, extremely violent movie. So
no, it's not going to face anybody but Leo.
Okay.
horror, I like this is why I missed out on a lot of stuff, is because like horror is my genre. I was born on Halloween, so I mean you might have guessed I have a little bit, but
Spooky enough.
yeah, so I horror is very I don't necessarily like gore fest, just like body horror for the sake of body horror. I've never watched The Human Centipede or any of that. That's just to me it's just like why?
This is a movie that's extremely disgusting, but it means something in the story.
Right.
Okay.
It's kind of like the let me put it this way. If there was an extremely horrifying bug in your house that you knew if you killed it would cause extreme danger to everyone around you, but it's so awful that when you see it, your impulse is to step on it, right?
Right.
That's kind of what that movie is about, right?
It's the killing this so it doesn't freak me out, but I just release smallpox on the world.
Yeah.
Kind of grabbing from the arc.
Or killing like a really big spider, and inside of it is a ton of deadly spiders.
Okay, can we not? Can we just not go there?
We're gonna kill Drew.
Like seriously, like literally, I saw that. Like you, Leo, you described it. I listen. Like it's the same thing with me. Like like I don't know what it is, but for me, I always keep coming back to this nightmare. I'm caught in a web and I'm dealing with a giant spider, and then the thing talks. I'm like, God, no.
But what's compelling, about a story like that, actually both of these horror stories that I just talked about that I really love, in both cases there's a powerlessness. There's an inability, like we are human and we are rational thinkers, one would like to think, and then put in certain situations there's really nothing we can do to control what's happening. And that's a really great horror story, and I actually think that's kind of like one of the essential horror stories of right now, because I think right now the world, so many things are happening in such a crazy way at such a crazy pace that a lot of people feel powerless, right? And there was an excellent book I read once. I think it's called The Monster Show, and it was a book about how the popular horror of each decade does reflect the general feelings of the decade. So they talk about how, when in the 70s, when the horror movies that were the biggest were things like The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby and Alien, it was all what they called bad baby movies, right? Where the fear was because of things like thalidomide and stuff like that, like all these things that were causing bad births. And then, when you get into the 80s and all the slasher movies and everything, it was like the fear of your neighbor.
Right.
And I think there is a pervasive fear right now of things being out of control.
Yeah, the sense of chaos and kind of rolling with it. And then when it falls onto you, you're like, oh, what the hell?
What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, we actually, I didn't ask for this. I didn't, why me? And then again, well, okay, well, why you? But why everybody else? Like, why are the other people it happened? Like,
a friend of mine recently put it that a lot of the really popular horror movies right now are kind of the you shouldn't have done that genre, right?
Yeah.
People like come across an artifact or a thing or a challenge, and then they do it, and then everyone pays the price, and that I think fits into the sort of feeling of chaos and things being out of control.
Well, and it's just like in horror, you always have these people who you build up as these intellectuals, and then they do really dumb things.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, that's just because humanity, when faced in horror, just goes right back to preschool.
We do dumb stuff. We do dumb shit, right? And then sometimes the real horror is in understanding that if you had not done the dumb shit, everything might be okay.
It's about realizing that that's a book wrapped in human flesh, and you need to put it back and get the fuck out.
That's right. Don't read it.
That's my favorite thing about like things like that. Like, we know what we're going to do. We're going to read this out loud.
Yeah,
that's exactly. I'm just like, not even are you mouthing the words? do you somehow think that just silently not saying it is going to not waken up the demons?
Yeah.
Or it's just the same thing, like people are like, oh, we're going to do this thing. Did anybody do the research about why this is a bad idea? Anyone think of that? No, we didn't, we want to do research and then schnapps. I'm like, well, I look forward to reading your obituaries tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know,
Mark wanted to bring up that that powerless is a wonderful ingredient in horror. One story he loved had a moment where someone could not protect someone they loved. The person's odds were better, but still low on their own, and it really got under his skin. And
yeah, for sure.
There was something I wanted to bring up too, and this is something also Dylan kind of is doing this with me. That makes sense. Think of the horror of the 50s and 60s, the atomic and alien themed stuff. I bring this guy up a lot because he's an amazing guy. I don't know if he's still alive or not, but Professor Jim Farger, Dr. Jim Farger, was my sociology professor. And he brought up, he had all these laws, and Farger's law of science fiction is it's always happening now. Whenever somebody writes, his example was Enemy Mine. We watched the movie, and it was like, this is racism. This is exactly where it's going. So I've always loved that thought, and that is what people project. And it similarly, horror is what are people fucked up with right now?
Yeah. What are they thinking about?
The one thing I wanted to say that you nailed on the head, just many couple of years too early, was in Jackpot when she goes into the room and savings, like gold guilt or whatever. I was just killed me. Like, are you serious? This guy is trimming everything in gold.
Oh, yes.
And I was just like,
yes,
nailed it. Way too early, but you nailed it.
Carrie, I'm really sorry, Carrie, but when you kept talking about the now and the here and the now, my brain went to that Spaceballs monologue. When is this happening now? It's happening now, sir. Everything that's happening is happening now. Go back then.
I was like, why is True laughing?
That would be now. I was right there with you, Drew.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It said, we can't. We go back to then. When? Now. We can't. What? We missed it. When will then be now? Soon. And I was like, boy, we didn't deserve some of these movies.
How in the hell did I inspire that?
Well, because you kept talking about the now. And my brain, I think my brain is perpetually fishing for pop culture references. So just patiently, there's a little version of me just with an old school fishing rod, like, oh, got one. So that's quality ADD, kids. That's just pure 90s ADD at its best, fueled by sugar. Respectfully.
I know we are coming up on time, but
yes.
A couple things I wanted to bring up. Now, I know we talked about Batman earlier, but another project, unless my information is wrong, you worked on Batman Eternal as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
So that actually came up in the Batman community. They were talking about it as a hidden gem for Batman.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Agreed. That's how I got to meet Ray the first time, was him signing all my Eternals.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. Him and
Ray's like, yes, my hand still fucking hurts.
Okay, you know what? I did not tell DC to do 52 of them. Okay. Respectfully, I'm still impressed I got as many of his collaborators to sign it as they did. And that was a lot of up and comers there.
I'm still really happy with Batman Eternal. It was I thought a great story. It was a great job working with that team of fantastic writers. And all the kinds of incredible artists, and we were able to kind of crawl all over Gotham City and show so many sides of it, and put the Batman through his paces the way all the best stories do. And I think it's a gem, but it's nice to hear that people are talking about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The Batman subreddit popped up just a couple days ago. If you wanted to go check it out. But once I clip up this episode, I'll try to see if I can put it in there as well. So thinking back on Batman Eternal, for that community, is there anything, any sort of like little behind the scenes details that you remember from that?
I mean, the main thing I can remember, every few months we got together in New York for summits. At the time, DC's offices were still in New York. And sitting around the writer's table with Scott Snyder and James Tynan and Tim Seeley and some of the other writers who got involved and some of the artists and our editor at the time, Mike Martz, were some of the coolest and wildest and freest flowing discussions we've ever had, or at least I've ever had in any kind of writer's room. And it was fun that it was really a throw anything on the table situation. Like obviously all of us had our own favorites and our own things we wanted to do. And, you know, someone would say, oh, we got to do something about Spoiler, or we got to do something about Dr. Phosphorus, and everyone would get all excited and everyone would start throwing things on the, and I think actually, we made it 52 issues. I think if we'd gone with everything we thought of, it would have been 104 issues. But it was a really great time. I kind of wish I could see more projects done that way, bring together people with really different sensibilities, but all who have a real love for the character that they're dealing with, and let them pull all the insane stuff out of their past. I mean, for me, I was saying things like, I wanted to bring a lot of the weirdest villains from Arkham Asylum into it. I wanted to bring characters like the 10-eyed man and the rat catcher and stuff like that in. And, this is like, but we were all doing that. We were all pulling all of our favorites. And I think one of the reasons the story is so fun is because we were all pulling our favorites. We were getting each other excited, and then we divided it up. So most of us were writing our favorites, and it really worked out. I think it was kind of like a Batman story written by like 6 people who all loved Batman a lot, and all had our own like unique experiences with Batman, and to sit us together in a room and say, okay, now you guys are going to put together a really big Batman story that folds all of your experiences into it, to make it like show us all these different sides of Batman and why they're all cool. And we loved it. We went kind of ape for it.
These are things that I wish you could have had a camera but that, at the same time, then you might not have been as free with it. But to be a fly on the wall in that table would have been amazing.
A lot of very excited nerds, and a lot of arguments where you definitely, I think every fan who could have seen some of those conversations would definitely be picking sides. Because I mean, we left a lot of things on the table because, one or another of us would come up with some kind of like really close to our heart, crazy idea. And then, the other 3 people at the table would go, okay, that's a bit much, right? Like, and each of us did that. So I think it would be an interesting experience for people to see that. I'm not sure if they would think it was extremely chaotic or they think it was very cool.
Go for it.
No, see, the thing that now I'm like, man, what was left on the table? Because I guarantee some of those became different storylines, probably. Mm-hmm. Your Gotham Midnights, your other projects within the Batman universe. So it's just, just again, like Carrie said, just to be in that room, just to just see y'all firing on all cylinders, just so passionately sticking to your guns, throwing out these ideas, and then when you all like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, and then you do it, and then it just gets such success, it just gets such love. I mean, it's like, maybe we weren't too crazy. Maybe that's exactly where we need to do. Let's blow up Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
Let's just fucking, why not? Let's fuck you. We're gonna blow it. What we're gonna do? We're gonna have a spooky underlining underground to it.
Yeah. I mean, it was certainly a case where it was a little bit, I think, magical in a way, because it was one of those times where the people in charge were not saying no to us very much. They were just saying, okay, well, let's just make sure it tells a coherent story and it does it on schedule, and you guys can all work out how to work together on it. But it's not like we didn't put out a lot of ideas that editorial said we couldn't do. We just put out a lot of ideas that the other writers would say, that doesn't work, but I've got something better, right?
Fair enough.
And so it was very cool. It was unusual in my experience at both DC and Marvel, and on any licensed book, to have the people in editorial kind of more like proud parents watching what we were doing instead of telling us what we could or couldn't do.
Well, it was fantastic either way. So kudos to you being a part of it and its lasting legacy.
Speaking of fantastic, Mott Crook would like to know if they missed a discussion on One Soul or the people inside. And Mott, we didn't do that this time around. We had before, because One Soul is one of the fucking most amazing comics I've ever read in my life. And that's obviously why you're asking it as well. If you guys haven't read it, it's this beautiful thing, and the way the panels, it's just, yeah. So we didn't have that discussion this time. Like, I can't explain it in like 2 minutes, you know? But would you like to throw out a little bit for Mott, just as far as like, how things went, and how that came about? And
One Soul was my it was my book that I sat down and said, I really want to do this thing and I'm not sure it's possible. It's my love letter to comics, and it's my book about the meaning of everything, or me trying to figure out the meaning of everything. And it's I mean, in straight logistical terms, it's a story that's it's a comic book that simultaneously tells the story of 18 different people's lives from birth till death. And because of the way the comic book page works, you can read all of them at the same time and process them all at once. Like a puzzle design. So when I created the book, when I was trying to figure out how many stories to tell and how to make it work, I had all of the stories individually on cue cards, and then I arranged them on the 18 panel grid on the floor in front of me, and I would shift things around to make sure when everything happened on the grid. It was actually a very difficult experience. I was kind of thinking three-dimensionally, and the whole time I was doing it, I thought it was crazy and nobody would like it. And in the end, I think it worked. I think it really ended up speaking to people. And I think I also proved that comics can do something that no other medium can do. You can't watch 18 movies at once and make sense of what you're seeing. You can't read 18 prose pieces all at once and make sense of what you're seeing. But in comics, you can process that much information at once, and it gives you the ability to show synergies and to have stories comment on each other and cross over with each other in a way where each story still maintains its integrity, but each story also is part of a greater whole, which is the point of One Soul, that each life, each human being from birth till death is both an entirely self-contained unit and part of a much bigger story.
And having a black panel is incredibly important in that book.
Yes.
It's something where usually it's like, oh, this is like we're in the dark or something, but it's, as you said, you're following lives and different things, and it's like black panels are incredible in that. You have to read it, folks. If you read it, make sure go buy it just so you can read it in the 18 panel layout and stuff. Don't cheat on this one. It's just gorgeous. And
there you go.
as Mom said, it works so well. It makes you feel for each character, saying so much with such a light touch for each of them.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That was always a book that I felt I was on the razor edge of it not working, and I felt like I managed to make it work, and I'm very, very proud of that book.
That is my favorite work of yours, and it's one of my favorite comics. It's just like we're all kind of wowing right now. You get you get the group. Yes,
yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. It actually means a lot to me when somebody brings that book up to me and wants to talk about it, because I know that the superhero stuff is more accessible and flashier, whatever. But that was the book that I was able to do because of the superhero stuff, and I was able to do away from it to say I also have this other thing to say, and it means a lot to me when people respond to it.
And Mark would say, yeah, I almost feel like certain books need a disclaimer saying that reading them digitally will compromise the experience. And that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And people have been pointing out, like, more and more. There was, I think, Mark, you have to help me here, or maybe one of you, maybe you can, Drew. I think it was Absolute Martian Manhunter that came out recently, where there was a page where you had to like look at it through the light, and you could see
light through it.
Yeah, so you could only see it if you actually own the book. So buying the digital copy does you no good.
I was wondering about that. I was wondering if the digital copy simulates that somehow.
That would be interesting. I'm gonna have to like try to find that out. I haven't. The colors hurt my head in Absolute Martian Manhunter.
To me, that particular sequence in Absolute Martian Manhunter made me so happy to be holding the book. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, it's some of the things that you can only do in comics, and that is really important. But there are a lot of things that you should not do in comics. But you sir have found the right niche, because you can write prose, you can write comics, and you know what goes where. And it's quite wonderful.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that seems like a nice place to wrap it up. Leo, take it away.
So, Ray, where do you like people following you on social media?
So I'm kind of an old man. I don't do a lot on social media. But I am on Instagram as Fawkes.Ray, and people can see some of my artwork and some of what I'm working on.
Awesome. Smart move not to be on social media.
Very smart.
And one last question for you, since you're currently up in Canada, right?
Yes.
Is Timmy's your go-to coffee place?
Timmy's is my guilty secret. Yeah, I go there. The coffee is exactly what I want on certain mornings. But a lot of people will turn their nose up at it and talk about much better coffee you can get in Toronto, and they're not wrong. I just like my Timmy's anyway.
Yeah, I'm in New England, and we had a couple Timmy's, but they've all gone away. I miss getting my tank of coffee. That's what they called it too, the tank. It's at least down here anyway. In Duncan, forget Duncan. Well, anyway, my name's Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. We had an awesome show, and we're gonna wrap things up. Make sure you head on over to our website. Head on over to splashpagescomicbookclub.com or splashpages.net. I believe also works as well. We're doing a ton of stuff there. So if you missed anything from Ray's discussion, we're actually digitizing and transcribing all our interviews and putting them up there, so you can find all the nitty-gritty stuff that everybody says. And Carrie, what do you got for us?
Hey, well, first I'm going to show the sound out from the Tyler Crook's comic book cooldown crew. Mark, hope to see Ray work with Jeff Lemire. They do, really, they do. Love you too, Dylan, and bye. Thanks for the interview. Bye, Dylan. Give them a like. Yes, please do. We would love that. Okay, yes, Drew. I'm working on it.
You're good.
if you want to find me, Carrie Sanders, just go there on Facebook. If you see a judgmental crow staring at you, that is my profile. I have the Instas and the Blue Sky and the TikTok and the stuff, but I don't actually use any of them to do anything other than follow other people. So if you want to reach out to me, go there. You can find links to the things that I've written. You can just reach out and say hi if you're trying to promote something. If you'd like to be on the show, go there, reach out to me. That's how you get a hold of me. And Ratatosker will be watching every move that I make. So send him a little bottle, and you might get some bonus points.
Awesome. Mr. Drew.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. As Leo said, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you're following us as we continue on with our fantastic coverage and guests. If you need to get in touch with me, you can find me, Drew Malo, on Facebook and Blue Sky, Ghostbusterman 1984 on Instagram. And make sure you tune in next week when we have the great Kyle Starks is returning to talk comics and such with us. Very excited for him to kind of wrap up May, which is crazy to say, but here we are. And yeah, you're all great and wonderful, and go forth and conquer.
Awesome. That we'll catch you later.
Happy night,
Hi, everybody. Love you.